I was just getting deeper and deeper into debt.
Children crying, saying, "Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright."
Hi everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to Denise's Island Dream. Thank you to the subscribers, thank you to those who are watching for the first time, thank you for the viewers. So this is my journey here in Jamaica. I moved to Jamaica coming up to 3 years ago. Lots been happening. If you've been following me, you know some of the challenges that I've been faced with and overcome them by the grace of God. So today it's something that it's been on my heart for a while. Well, let me just backtrack a bit. I made a promise to God when I came on my truth path in 2020. That was when everything was going on with COVID. And I said to God, something's not right on this planet. And I just said, I want the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Not realising that a prayer like that, prayed from the heart, would dramatically change my life, and my life is continuing to change. I've seen the goodness of God in all my situations, and when I look back at every challenge that I've ever faced, not knowing how I got through them, I can connect the dots now and know that, wow, God, you've been with me all along. And that's the same, that's true for everybody alive on this planet. Whether you know it or not, God is working in your life right here, right now, in whatever situation you're in. And life has been throwing just things and life at me, at us all. And yeah, God's in it. God is in everything. So as many of you know who have been watching, I moved to Jamaica with a husband who has now become my estranged husband. A lot's gone on and I won't go into everything because I've done a video about it, about how God actually removed him from my life. Now, how did God bring him into my life in the first place? Well, I actually met him here in Jamaica. And one day when I actually came on a mission trip to Kingston. And I'm going to try and cut it down. So basically it was to attend Fun in the Sun. Sun as in S-O-N. So it was a Christian event, if you like. So I did a mission trip and I was one of the team members. I was the only one from the UK, and there was most of the team were from the US. So I was trying to figure out, and when I saw the opportunity to do a mission trip, I oh, should I go? Should I not go? And then it turned out that my late father actually said to me, I mentioned it to him, and he said, oh, Denise, it'd be nice if you went, because I'd like to go to Jamaica, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to go again. And because he was sick with his heart, and I'd feel more confident being around one of you girls. So if you're going, I'll come as well, I'll book as well, you know, for me and your mum. So I said, so that made up my mind. I said, yeah. So I booked, came, they came after me. So I met them back in Montego Bay. But while I was in Kingston on this mission trip, Carlen Davis was there, and, you know, what's his name, Franklin. There was a few artists, and Louie Paulo, he was preaching, and that was the one. I don't know if some of you heard about the miners that they were stuck in the mine. Well, he was the one that preached a message and sent it down the shaft thing for them to hear the message. So anyway, there I was, and in fact, let me go back a little bit. One day, oh yes, so after my dad had said, you know, we'd agreed and he booked his flight, I'd obviously booked mine. So the one day I'm coming back from work, I'm on the motorway, the M6, and I hear God say, you're going to meet your husband when you go to Jamaica. So of course that excited me. So in March, I went on this trip, and at the Fun in the Sun event, he came and spoke to me. Now there was something in me, and I said to God, if you know, he asked a few questions, you know, who's on tonight and what's the event, you know, because I was one of the counsellors. So I told him who was going to be performing, and that was it. He was there with his son. Yeah, and a woman. But he said it was a friend. Anyway, he went and I went my way. And then I said to God, because there was just something in me, I said, God, was that my husband? And I said, if it was, bring him back or let me see him. And then let me meet him, let our paths cross again, basically. And, I carried on doing what I was doing at the event. And then I see him materialise. He came, I saw him again, basically. And he asked me for my number, which, I got another SIM in Jamaica and gave him my Jamaican number. And that was that. 3 years later, we got married. But on that day, this man, he was actually on his way to church. He's 7-day Adventist. He was a deacon in the church. He was on the worship team, in the band, whatever you call it. And so I thought, wow, this man he just said all the right things. He said, you know, I've got nothing to offer you but love. And I said, that's a good place to start. He was open about his marriage that was falling to bits. That should have been a red flag, but anyway, God doesn't make mistakes. God really doesn't. So 3 years after I met him, we got married. That was in 2014. And my dad actually passed away in February 2014, and he got quite sick after we came back from Jamaica, and he never managed to go again. So I was really glad that, you know, I was able to be there with him and my mum for his final trip, because my dad really loved Jamaica. I think I've got that love of Jamaica from my dad. So anyway, he comes over, and I didn't know that he was a narcissist, obviously not. I found out because I didn't know what a narcissist was. So towards the end of the relationship, when, you know, things began to, well, the truth, I've been on this truth path, and his mask began to fall off. So I realised that this man is not for me. This man, like he said, he had nothing. And, you know, they say love is blind. It really is. When you really love somebody, although you see the flaws, it's like you think, oh, I'll be able to change him. He'll change. Because you don't think that people, because you're treating them well, I'm an empath, that another person's not going to be evil towards you. You know, I did absolutely everything. You know, I got married in Jamaica, so I paid for the hotel, paid for the wedding rings. Women, if you've got to buy your own wedding ring, that's a red flag. Leave it alone. I had to buy my own wedding ring, his and mine, buy his wedding suit. So I paid for absolutely everything, right down to his teeth. I did everything. He comes over to England and basically walks more or less straight into a job. And most of the jobs he just had, well, some of them were agency, so they had a natural ending, and others he just couldn't get on with the people, and he would leave, get another job. And so it was until, you know, COVID, which I backed him with, to be honest with you, because he didn't want to take, well, I wasn't taking the vaccine and neither did he, and he lost his job because of it, which granted, you know, he couldn't get another job because you had to have the vaccine, and he didn't. So anyway, that's one of the things that catapulted me into coming to Jamaica, you know, when all that started. But while in England, while he's there, he, okay, before I met him, this was my plan. And that was in, 2010, I made this plan that by, in 8 years, so by 2018, and I was working it all out, I would pay off my mortgage. And so I'd be debt-free, mortgage-free, basically. So I had this plan to do that. And I met him and obviously told him about this plan. And I tell you, I'm not saying I never spent money unwisely, but it went to another level when I was with him, because he's very materialistic and he'd want the best of the best. So I shared this before. There was somebody selling like a curved TV. Obviously, it was some knockoff thing. Pressured me, and I was saying, this ain't God. And he's saying, no, God's got so many ways to bless you. But it didn't feel right, but I still went ahead and got the money to get this television, only to get home and see that it was a scam. It was a smashed TV in a brand new sealed box. With no trace. It was a white van man. So, that was a loss. I'll tell you one thing with narcissists, they will try to destroy you financially. And I'll come to the credit cards. But the spending, it really did get out of hand, but I was paying like my credit card bills, basically. But, what I was doing, to be honest with you, I was buying things from the credit card and paying it off before they start charging for, charging interest. And the main reason was because I wanted the air miles, and that was one way of bumping up air miles, so I could come to Jamaica premium. I've come to Jamaica first class through the air miles, so it's got its benefits. So his belief was, you've only got one life, just spend, just get the best and pay it later. And I was saying, well, I want to just clear off the house. Well, that will come. And then what he would do is put all his money into my account, which I think I've said this before. He had to do that because he was coming from Jamaica. Now, when he's working, it needs to go into an account. So it's obvious it's got to come into his wife's account, which later I added his name to the account. So it was in joint names. So what he would do is all his salary would come into the account. Now, we had two accounts that I put both our names on. And I was basically managing the one. And I gave him, he was managing the other. I said, you have that card, I'll have this one. And when I saw his spending going out of hand, getting like jacuzzi, yes, I did agree to it. you know, but there was some coercing, there's some pressure, and it's just like, as an empath, it's a quiet life. And you think, okay, he's on good money, it will all get paid off. But, you know, you're just getting deeper and deeper into debt. You know, rather than paying off the mortgage, I'm taking out, you know, consolidating, and, you know, these loans are coming against the house, secured loans. So, you know, like I said, jacuzzi, automatic toilet. When I needed the kitchen fitted, the kitchen, you know, I got the money out to do the kitchen, and then he said, no, do the garden. You don't want to do the kitchen, and then do the garden after, and then all the mess from the garden is going to come into the new kitchen. So I succumbed and spent a load of money to get the garden done, the backyard. Then it was, no, the front needs doing, but the kitchen's falling apart. No, let's get the front doing. And so I did it. And then finally did the kitchen, the bathroom, you know, go to, what's it called, design, can't remember the name of it, Grand Design, you know, that they did on TV, and went to, you know, the show NEC, you know, buy a jacuzzi bath and the toilets and all these plush things that we really didn't need, and it was debt. But I agreed to it, so I have to take responsibility as well. So yeah, that's how it was. I was just getting deeper and deeper into debt, but I was paying for the debts, paying off the credit cards, and I mean, I was very good with my credit, and yeah, so in the end I had credit cards that, because I was a brilliant payer, 60,000, I didn't even realise it was so much, but it was £60,000 credit card, my limit in all, with all of them. Yeah, I'm going to continue this video because I don't want it to be too long, and I want, you know, to get the full understanding. So yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, take care, bye.